people. So, there's something I would like to talk about called what people call, quote unquote, balanced dog training. There's a mixture of thought processes that goes into this. One is that to make a behavior stop, you would want to do something unwanted so that the unwanted behavior stops. Makes sense, right? Second is the alpha theory, which is that where people pretty much believe that a dog needs an alpha, which has been debunked, but it turns out that wolves in the wilds don't have alphas either. So their dog relatives also don't have alphas. What they have in the wild are parents. And I think that that's a good inspiration that people could take, is to be like a gentle parent instead of caring about these ideas of, dominance or what have you. So, that. But so basically, today I'm going to be reacting to a balanced dog trainer correcting a dog, and I'm going to explain why I think that those ways of treating a dog aren't the best, and how you could do some alternatives. So this is what he calls
imagine being able to build
stop leash reactivity quickly. Everything you need to know. Well, I already have a problem with this because reactivity usually is rooted in fear, and that fear takes time to heal. So quickly isn't not necessarily honest. Unless, of course, he's just shutting the dog down and stopping the leash pulling through shutting the dog down. That works quickly. Okay, so let's see here.
That's your friend. I'm going on a walk with a dog who has extreme leash reactivity. I've got a giant schnauzer set up out there, and we're gonna walk, and I'm gonna show you everything, talk through the psychology of it, show you everything. This is the dog that got in a fight with Prince. I made a YouTube video about him a couple months ago. He just freaks out when he sees dogs. He focuses on them. This is like a lot of your dogs. So I have treats on me. I'm gonna use the doorway method. I'm gonna explain that to you, and if it works and if it doesn't work and what percentage it works. I'm going to use treats. I'm going to use redirection into sits. I'm going to do everything in my toolbox, because when he sees a dog, he flips out. One of the things in my toolbox is a gentle leader. It's the only thing that controls their head. This dog will also redirect onto people. All right, so you have to act like this is your living room. This is your front door. That's the way I'm going to act. How's he look right now? He looks good. He's ready to move on. Your leash reactive dog cannot get out their front door until they're calm in their house. And from their front door, they cannot go down the street until they're calm at your front door. So if they're not good, you have to take them back to a spot that is boring, make sure they're good, then move on. Okay, what a good boy. But he's not gonna be good when he sees that giant schnauzer. Sit, good boy.
So here's what I want to just start off with saying. If you're training a dog, for example, to react better around other dogs, you want to start really small. Like, for example, having a dog from a long distance away and rewarding calm behaviors with the dog a far distance away, of course in a neutral territory. And you want to start out just really, really small. If you're starting out and you're immediately putting the dog into a stressful situation, you're immediately introducing two dogs to each other, that can go pretty badly. You want to start things off really small.
Stay, doorway method. Give him a ton of leash, and Now,
what was that for?
Schnauzer, sit. Good boy. Stay, doorway method. Give him a ton of leash, and Now, was Griffin terrible? He was not terrible. It is only going to get harder from here. So if he...
So punishing a dog for trying to go outside the door is really unnecessary because you can train dogs to pay attention to you and avoid running outside doors without using any punishment or painful methods.
He cannot sit for that doorway opening up.
Actually, I'll give you an example. Using the look command, you can train your dog to look at you and then slowly increase distraction levels. And you can increase the distraction levels all the way up to I'm cracking the door open and then having you sit and look at me without, I'm having you stay, sit, look, without running out the door. And then sit, stay, look, with the door cracked a little farther open. And eventually they're going to learn when the door comes open, I sit down and I look at you. And that only works through positive reinforcement.
And he needs to get out there, then we think he's going to listen to us when he sees a giant schnauzer up here in the real world. If he can't do that, he ain't listening there. So he's got to do that. Come on. Hey, I've got an aggression program coming out. If your dog is aggressive, it's tamping them down early. Sit. If he can't sit on the first time, I am making him sit on the first time. You are making your dog sit on the first time. Oh, Joel,
why?
So what if I have to ask twice? I don't care in life that much, but I care when they have leash reactivity. If they can't do a sit on the first time, they can't listen to you in the real world. It's just how it works.
And you don't train someone to do something by making them. If you want someone to be able to do something, you have to make it a rewarding experience for them. You have to tell them how and what and why. And that takes time. It doesn't take force.
Okay. And he's with me barely, but good enough. That is criteria to move on with the walk. So now
I love
we're just
his
going to
tail.
close out the door.
He
Let's
has
go,
the
Carly.
cutest
We're
tail.
going right on the street. All right. Keep your dog on one side of you. Don't worry about that. Keep your dog on one side of you, okay? Why? It's very consistent for the dog. It's also consistent for you in understanding how to work the leash. It's not just about the dog. It's about your physical abilities. The dog over here and you doing a stop method or a turn method or asking a sit when they're freaking out on a dog, you have to learn how to do that. And if you're constantly switching sides, it's going from, oh, the leash is usually on the left in my left hand, then when it goes to the right, I also keep it in my left hand. It's different. So you have to keep the dog on one side, plus it's good for the dog. All right, he's being very good right now. Let's see when he sees a dog. But think about, there's a line right here. There are some dogs that are out front dogs. I've done videos about those dogs. He is not one of those. He is hanging back. That's the first key. If your dog's always in front of you, why wouldn't they freak out on a dog? They don't even know where you are. He can see me in his peripheral right now. So when I stop...
Here's what about that. If a dog is in front of you, they're going to have a harder time paying attention to you.
When I stop, if he's next to me, he can see me. If we walk like this and I stop, he's just like, I'm on my own. I don't even know where this guy is because he's behind me. So one key is, then I do tester stops, okay? He's being really good. Let's see if he's good. Look at this, tester stops. Is your dog with you? We're about to see a dog. If he can't be with you with nothing, then why the heck would he not just zero in on that dog, focus on that dog, think, oh, that dog's big, oh, that's a husky, and then freak out. So you got to get the...
Yeah, that's another thing. If he's scared of bigger dogs, I would start with a small dog. I would introduce him to a small dog at a distance, or depending on how he is with smaller dogs, maybe a little bit closer up. It's all about the small steps, right? You want to start really small and gradually introduce larger dogs, closer distance. What I would say is increase the size of dog you're introducing him to before you increase the distance, so that he adjusts to seeing larger dogs at a distance, being rewarded for calm behavior. He learns this is rewarding, being calm is rewarding, everything is okay. I've seen a dog before and it was a rewarding experience for me. And then you can slowly say, hey, the dog was only across the street from me and it was rewarding. Hey, the dog was in the middle of the street and a little bit closer to me, but still at a distance, that was rewarding. And you slowly have the dog moving closer and eventually it's the dog's walking right past, pretty close to him. That's rewarding. And then there's the time duration. You're slowly having the dog walk past a little slower each time. Maybe eventually what you want to get up to is they're walking next to each other outside in a neutral territory, a big dog, and they're not attacking each other. Because they're being rewarded for this calm behavior, they're building up this positive association with what used to scare them. This is called counter conditioning. So basically once at one point is really scary to you, you're going to learn that's actually this really positive thing. And this can only be done slowly. You cannot jump into counter conditioning. You cannot just jump over, push the dog over their threshold to where they're freaking out, and then force them to act calm in the moment and then say they've been counter conditioned. You're forcing them to act calm in the moment, but they're not calm. Inside, they're stressed. And they're in a really stressful situation. So we'll see how he does it. He might not actually introduce them right away, right in each other's faces. He might give them some space, some time to get used to each other.
This is all within criteria. Is he looking at me? No. Can I reinforce him? Sure. Let's see if it even helps. Notice if the check-ins from him get any more frequent due to the treats. I'm a big treat fan. It just doesn't work for leash reactivity like you would think.
Here's the thing. If your dog is over the threshold, they're not paying attention to you unless you force them to, right? And you shouldn't be forcing your dog to do things unless there's an emergency situation. So what you want to do is you want to train your dog when they're not over their threshold. And as you do that, what becomes over their threshold becomes, basically what I'm saying is it becomes harder and harder for them to go over their threshold as you slowly increase the challenge using positive reinforcement. So I would say start at a level where your dog can take treats from you, because that's showing they're not over their threshold and they're not freaking out yet. Start that training all the way at the level where they're going to be paying attention to you and to your treats.
Because the treats are never even close to as reinforcing as the freak out is. So the freak out on other dogs, leash reactivity at its core is due to frustration, generally speaking. They have a leash on, they're being held back, they're all worked up, they want to go play, they want to go fight, their brain is meant to work and hunt, and it gets them going. That's what leash reactivity is, frustration.
And
the
anxiety.
Treats rarely compete with the reinforcement of freaking out. So we got some cars. Now let's see when he sees the dog. The giant schnauzer's down there. Okay? He can look. He doesn't need to be perfect. Sees the dog. Okay, loose leash. He can look around. Sees the dog. Now, if at no point do I get his eyes off of this dog, I'm done. I'm cooked. Okay, so we're gonna do a stop. I think he's gonna stop. Oh, looked away. That's good. If he can't stop, so he's stopping, but he's not getting his eyes off the dog. Oh, right there. Got his eyes off the dog. We're in good shape. We're in good shape.
Is he limping?
Got his eyes off the dog. We're in good shape.
Yeah, he's limping, guys.
We're in good shape.
They should have him checked out by a vet. A lot of times, fear reactivity, not a lot of times, but it can be caused by physical problems, especially if the dog is being reactive all of a sudden and they weren't reactive before. So if your dog is reactive, first step, always take them to the vet. And this dog is limping, guys, so.
We're in okay shape. Why? Because I would like for him to look at me more.
See, that was unnecessary. He didn't know what that was for. Just pulling on the leash suddenly like that, he doesn't know what that's for.
Beautiful. Now let's see. Let's see if he goes right back to looking at the dog, or not ready.
See, he could be doing all of this with treat rewards. If the dog takes treats on walks, that means the dog isn't over their threshold on walks. And he can have the dog redirect and look at him. And he can do all of this with treats. He really can. He could be having that dog look at him and pay attention to him really well. The dog already would have been if he had been using treats.
You see that little freak out on the correction? I got to take note of that. Corrections can elicit a reaction from a dog. He was bad, but he wasn't freaking out. Then I gave that little correction and you heard that little bark from him. Sit. He did it again. All right. So this.
What was that even for? He had him sit like a good dog. He was good, he sat, and then he did it just as an example. He did a correction. And honestly, why do they call them corrections? They're punishments. I don't know why.
This is something we got to deal with. I'm not saying I'm going to eliminate corrections, but I have to figure something else out that does not have that Pavlovian response of he gets corrected and he just elicits a little tiny freak out. So how are we going to deal with this? We could go to treats and just try to up the treats. Corrections are generally, like not hard corrections, are generally the best way for leash reactivity, right? You have a quote unquote punishment when the dog does the wrong thing. It's nature, it's how things work, it's how life works.
So if you punish a dog for reacting with fear, what you're doing is instilling fear. So what happens is if you, for example, introduce two dogs and one of the dog freaks out, is getting scared, and you punish them, what you're doing is you're increasing that fear, and then they remember the next time they're with the dog that it's scary to be with that dog because they were punished, and they remember getting punished when they were around the dog. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to use punishment as any kind of training when you're trying to desensitize and counter condition, because what you're doing is you're creating more fear and more discomfort. And you don't want to create more fear and discomfort in a situation that you're trying to have them associate as positive. So that's all I have to say. Bye!